Hi everyone, this is Nicole Spohr for Simon Says Stamp, and today I'm going to be sharing this layered stencil Christmas scene created with the Christmas Gnome Home stencil. So we're going to be creating this one layer stenciled background with adorable little gnomes and images in the foreground. We're going to start with the Christmas Gnome Home stencil and the Stitched Slopes and Hills dies from Simon Says Stamp. That Stitched Slopes and Hills is die cut from some Simon Says Stamp masking paper and then layered down the bottom of a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel of smooth white cardstock. I'm then going to very lightly trace in some of the elements from my Christmas Gnome Home stencil so that I know kind of where everything will be going on my card. Then I'm also going to just lightly draw in windows, the door, and the chimney. I'm going to need a mask for all of these things, and I'll show you why. This is going to allow you to mask all of the elements very easily, and we're going to need that house shape as well. We're going to start by building the background up, but we don't want to layer any of the sky or trees over that gnome home. So we have the border, the mask of snow along the bottom edge of our scene, and then we're going to add the gnome home, including the chimney. I didn't have to draw in too many things, and I will lightly erase that with my pencil later. So the house, and then let's go ahead and grab that chimney because we definitely don't want to add color to that. We'll cut that out real quick. And then we don't need to add the doors or the door and the windows quite yet. I did trace two of the kind of curved shape windows and then the circle window, one of those. So there's 3 total and a door. Those will be added later. We've got our house shape, we have our chimney, we have our snow along the ground. It's time to start building our background. Now, originally I was going to do my tree first, but I'm going to remove this really fast. We're actually going to ink our sky. And you can see that I maybe made a boo-boo because I'm reusing all those masks I already made, which I did. I got almost all the way to the end and I accidentally inked some pink over blue and there was no way to fix it. So kind of a bummer, but this just goes to show you these masks are going to hold up against quite a bit of inking, which is fantastic. And I really felt it was important to kind of share that. This masking paper from Simon Says Stamp is one of my favorite things. Absolutely love it. So I have inked up the sky lightly, keeping the darker kind of around the edges with Pool Party Hero Hues Reactive ink. If you guys have been following me in the last couple months or so, you know that I love the reactive inks from Hero Arts. They are phenomenal. They are called reactive because they will react with water. In this case though, I'm simply using them to ink up my background and they go on beautifully. I am inking the big pine tree from the stencil that we're using, that Christmas Gnome Home stencil, which I love the name, I think it's fun, with Key Lime Fizz first and then a little green apple to deepen up some of the edges. Then we're going to remove that. Something I want to stress that is a bit, I call it time consuming. It's probably not time consuming. I tend to be a little bit lazy with my crafting. Something that is super important when you're using a stencil like this that has lots of images on it, mask the entire thing. Don't think, oh, I won't get ink. Like over to the left side here where the edge of that stencil is, oh, I can keep it on the stencil. I can tell you right now, 9 times out of 10, I do not keep it just in that area. And then I end up mad, which is what happened with the last card. I was going in to fix something else and I forgot to mask it off all the way. And I got that pink color into the blue. And I was really, really upset because I'd already done all of my inking. So I just recommend masking off everything. It's going to save you so much time in the long run. If you're using Post-it tape or lots of different kinds of low-tack tape, you can reuse them. I'm reusing mine several times before they lose their stickiness and have to be tossed for some new pieces. Another thing I want to mention, if you don't want to transfer ink accidentally from one area to another, clean off your stencil often. I'm using a microfiber cloth. I do get a lot of questions about this when I use it. I have some microfiber cloths that I only use for my craft room. I wash them frequently. They are stained, but I use them over and over and over, and I find that they work great because there's no lint. So that's what I'm using here today. Now this one I'm just kind of going to be tucking up above the house to give the illusion of being taller. I am using the Key Lime Fizz and Green Apple Reactive inks, just kind of mixing and matching those. But I really want it to be this full winter scene, like there's this little Christmas gnome home out in the middle of this winter scene. We're going to just add a little bit more ink, kind of finish this off. Now, the rest of the trees that you saw in the finished card will be stamped from our stamp set. So I'll show you that here in just a minute because I think those are really fun. I looked around and I was like, do I want to add more? And I really didn't. I felt like it would be a little bit too much, but the little teeny tiny skinny stamp trees are going to be just the thing. So we'll get to that here in a bit. While I still have my masks in place, we are going to take these snowflakes. There's 2 snowflake shapes in this Christmas Gnome Home, and we are going to ink these with the Pool Party Reactive ink. Now, this is kind of an exception to my rule where I said that mask everything. I did not mask some of these, mostly because I was pretty safe not to do so. I would move a little mask here and there. But there's kind of nothing else really close, especially to this big snowflake. And so I was able to easily just ink these onto my card. Once we have that, I'm going to add just a little extra ink along the top edge. We're ready to start inking the house. That means we need to remove our house and chimney mask. Let's clean our stamp really good. Let's clean our glass work surface really good. I like to clean the front and the back of the mask. And we're just going to peel up the house, revealing the house shape. How cute is that? Let's remove the chimney as well. And then we need to grab or cut out our door and our windows, and we need to put those in place. So I'm going to mask everything off, and I almost started to ink. Let's go ahead and grab those masks first, because those are going to protect those areas so we can add something special there, another color. You can see here's my background that I messed up. I tried to fix. I don't know if you can see the mess in it. And again, I'm reusing my masks because they are still super, super sticky. Then I'm going to take Taffy Reactive ink and ink up my house. And I'm using a pretty heavy hand. I want this to be a nice, smooth pink house. I am going for modern, bright, and colorful. For some reason, with my gnomes, I either go super traditional or I go like with reds and blacks and white, red and white and black or whatever, or I go super modern and fun with pinks and aqua and limey greens. And at the end of this video, I will be linking to another video where I did a stenciling technique with a gnome stencil that's very similar to this. So if you want some more ideas for how to layer stencils, you can check that video out. After I have the house, I'm going to take the roof piece, that little scallop, and we're going to ink over the top. Now, as I did this, I realized I probably could have done this with the door. I wasn't sure I would do the door in red, but I end up doing it in red. So kind of, you know, keep that in mind. If you want to just ink the door over top of a lighter ink color, you can. I've also masked off the edge of the roof to coordinate with the sides of the house. The roof piece is longer than the house, and that would be okay, but I think the green of the trees is going to pop through that and it's not going to look very good, so I just masked that off so it just perfectly matched the house. Then I want to ink up the chimney. This is also with the Taffy Hero Hues Reactive ink. The red I'm using is the Hero Hues Fruit Punch Reactive ink. I love these colors together. It's kind of a brighter red and not really a I don't want to say a true red. It just works really good with these bright modern colors. Okay, there's our cute little house. How much fun is that? I'm going to now take some tweezers and lift off my masks. And if you're careful, you can reuse these over and over. I'm going to go ahead and just ink that door real fast with the Fruit Punch Reactive ink. And again, this is an example of me trying not to use a mask when I really should have. You could always use some pixie spray on the back of your mask if you want to. I didn't today, but you could. That's another option as well. You're still going to have to mask it off, and that's why I opted not to. Okay, let's remove the windows. Now for these, I wanted it to look like the lights are on inside of this cute little gnome home. So we're going to take the Lemon Drop Reactive ink and ink up all of these windows. And the fun thing is it's going to have kind of the little, window pane type of look. So there'll be a little white area, which gives it even more interest. Oh, how cute is that? It's just really coming together. So much fun. I absolutely love this little gnome home. And this background, I get asked a lot, do you start with the background or do you start with the images? This card, I completely started with the background and then I chose my images to go with the background because I was really excited to play with this Christmas gnome home and see what I could create with it. Okay, let's remove our snow mask and see our background. Oh my goodness, how much fun is that? I love this. And honestly, if you mask your elements, it does not take that long. I also tried to ink the doorknob without a blending brush, and that didn't work. So I had to grab a blending brush and do that. I'm going to let this sit and dry for a minute. I'm actually going to go clean my brushes off camera. Has nothing to do with this project other than I noticed while I was using them that they are filthy. So I'm going to go do that. And that kind of allowed the reactive ink some time to dry, air dry without a heat tool. I came back a little bit later and I am going to take those trees then from the Gnome for the Holidays stamp set and I'm going to ink those up with the green apple reactive ink and stamp those kind of just to mix in with the elements, the stenciled trees in the background. We've got one on the left and one on the right. I inked them a couple of times just to kind of get a little bit more prominent tree, but that really fills it in. That gives it exactly the look I was going for. So there's our background. In addition, I think I'm going to take snowflakes then from the Gnome from the Holiday stamp set, and we're going to stamp these all over the sky with the Simon Says Stamped Clear Embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. We're also going to stamp Gnome for the Holidays. We're just picking one of the greetings from this stamp set and going to place it on the house. That little area between the windows, kind of framed up by the windows and door, is just the perfect little spot for a sentiment, I thought. So all along that was the plan. I will say that while I designed the background first, I had grabbed sentiments and played around with them and knew that that was where I wanted that sentiment to go. So snowflakes and sentiment will all be stamped with clear embossing ink and heat embossed with white embossing powder. This adds great layering, dimension, and interest to the already really fun scene. If any embossing powder sticks to areas that you don't want it, I'm just taking a dry paintbrush and wiping that away, which I got a little aggressive, I noticed, and I messed up one of the letters in the sentiment. So I'm going to have to add a little more embossing powder before I can heat emboss this. And then we're just going to hit it really quick with a heat tool. And I did this a couple of times, stamping snowflakes all over. Not too many. Let's count and let's see how many I ended up with. It looks like I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think. 8 little snowflakes, and I chose only the small ones from the stamp set. There's a nice assortment of sizes in the stamp set, and I chose just the smallest 3. We're going to continue to do this until our background is all full, and then we're going to take one of the gnomes and the the stack of gift packages and then the 2 gift packages images, and stamp these on a scrap of Bristol Smooth cardstock with a no line coloring ink, and color these images in with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. Hopefully you can see the detail coloring a little bit better this way. Starting with the gnome's nose, we're using beige flesh color for the nose, and then for the mustache and beard, light gray and the blender, and then a little natural gray for the open mouth. I was very conscious of making sure I colored with my light colors first, or a light color that would be next to a pink or a red, because pink or red tends to grab, these are water-based markers, so it tends to grab that color and bleed into another one if you touch it with the tip of your marker. And this is such a small detailed image that I felt like I better really be aware of my light colors. So I did the nose and the beard first, and then I started building the brim of the hat, the base of the hat, the polka dots, the little pom-pom at the top. Then we'll do the rest of the gnome, including those little tights he's wearing, which I did a fun stripe with. I love these guys. Long, skinny legs. I think they're hilarious. They're so cute. Really have some fun with this. I went bright and colorful to match my card. So no red and green here. We're doing aquas and pinks. His tights will be red and pink because I thought that was funny. And his mittens are going to be red. And then, but we're going to do rainbow assortment for these gift packages, which ended up maybe being one of my favorite things about this card. It really plays with the background nicely. I encourage you to really kind of have fun with this. And I love the just fun, bright colors here. I would love to see this in some more neutral, subdued colors, maybe more traditional as well. I think that would be really fun. And I'm just going to encourage you right now, if you haven't seen it, Debbie Hughes did the most phenomenal watercolor design with this stencil that just shows you what can be done with a simple stencil like this. Just an incredible video, and I encourage you to check it out. Next comes my favorite package from the whole thing, and it's my rainbow package, rainbow wrapping paper. And I am simply doing a little pink, red, and orangey, yellow, green, light blue, or I guess turquoise, blue, purple, pink, and red. Again, we're just going to repeat here. Just really fun. I love this bright package. I think it's super cute. The top we'll do in a green, and then I'm going to take a fine tip black pen and draw in the bow detail. I felt like that would probably be the best here to really help that stand out. Next package is going to be red and pink. It's going to match our gnome home. For this one, I traced over the bow with my red pen. Although looking back at it, I kind of wish I would have done the black fine tip pen, but it's good. It's done. And then I'm going to do another little rainbow package for this top one. I like the other one so much. This is just a little short squatty package. We're going to do the same thing. And I am repeating all the colors that you already saw. If you want to know for sure which colors I used, the list was kind of long, so it's in the coordinating blog post. If you click or scroll down underneath the video here on YouTube and click the link for the blog post that coordinates with this project, it's going to take you to the written version of this that will have all the information, and listed out in the blog post, in the body of the post, will be what I used for certain areas of this design. So all of the colors will be listed out. Very easy and a great little reference if you're curious at all what I'm using at any time during this video. Also, early in the video, all the colors I've used have been listed. I just thought for the rest of the coloring, since it's a repeat of all of that, I would leave it off the bottom of the screen and just leave that coloring to really shine. Once we have all of these images colored, which the rest goes pretty quickly, we're going to die cut them with the coordinating die, Gnome for the Holidays dies, which I'm so excited. This stamp set was part of the December Simon Says stamp card kit, which is always available for individual purchase later on. The stencil was available was in the kit. It's also available for individual purchase, which I think is phenomenal. But the dies were an add-on purchase, and those came a little bit later, so I'm really excited to see that there's coordinating dies for this stamp set. Now, to give these images a little dimension, I'm going to back them with foam adhesive, and that is a little tricky because the legs that I love so much on this gnome are really skinny. I love these little foam strips. These are linked in the supplies. I'm going to back his arms and legs with these, and then we're going to pop him in place on our scene. We're going to do the same thing for the packages. Oh, I also curved that skinny foam around the top of his hat. I like my images to have plenty of foam adhesive. I think they lie nicer. I don't worry so much about them going through the mail and maybe getting smushed and ruined. We're going to back the package or the stack of packages right next to him and then pop the other two over close to the Gnome Home. Now, finishing details, which we're just going to take a white pen and draw in detail on trees, on the roof of the house. We're going to add some little polka dots. We're going to add some hinges to the door, a highlight to the doorknob, and then highlights, as I mentioned, to the trees and the large blue inked snowflakes in the sky. We'll add some smoke coming out of the chimney. And this is just really going to round out the design and finish it off perfectly. Great little one-layer scene. This scene looks like it has tons of dimension, lots of layers, but really it is all one layer except for those 3 images that we popped up on the front. So this is going to be something that's going to go through the mail very easily. Just so much fun. I think it's just darling. I love how the images from the Gnome from the Holidays stamp set are sized perfectly to work with this Christmas Gnome Home, so it all just works together. We will then place this on a white side fold card base to finish the card design, and this layered stencil Christmas Gnome Home card is all finished. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this super fun stencil layering card featuring the Christmas Gnome Home and Gnome for the Holidays products from Simon Says Stamp. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Simon Says stamps and dies that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making or paper crafting video. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy holidays, and we'll catch you next time.